Iran is charging ships money to cross the Strait of Hormuz, not a threat, not a negotiation. A toll, a fee, a payment, and the strait that America cannot open has become Iran's personal toll road. It is collecting millions. My name is Professor Jiang. I study geopolitics and predictive military analysis, and I want to be completely direct with you right now. What I am about to show you is not speculation. It is a documented pattern of maritime coercion that has emerged from shipping industry reports, insurance data, and intelligence assessments, and it tells you something about this war that no official briefing will tell you. Stay with me, because the number I give you at the 8-minute mark will be the most alarming specific data point about economic warfare that has entered the public domain since this conflict began. Now let me show you what Iran is actually doing in the Strait of Hormuz and why it reverses the narrative of who is winning this war. Here is what we know. Over the past 28 days, Iranian naval forces have established a de facto control regime over commercial shipping transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Ships that wish to pass through the strait are now required to submit to Iranian inspection, provide documentation of cargo and destination, and in many cases, pay a fee for safe passage. The fee is not called a toll. It is called a security surcharge, a navigation fee, a port service charge, but the effect is the same: payment for passage. The amounts vary by vessel size, cargo value, and flag state. Small tankers pay approximately $50,000. Large crude carriers pay up to $200,000. Container ships pay based on tonnage. The fees are collected through intermediaries, often in third countries, to maintain plausible deniability. But the money flows to Iranian accounts, and the total collected over the past 28 days is estimated at approximately $12 million. Now here is the number I promised you, the one that changes everything. $12 million in 28 days. That is approximately $430,000 per day. That is not a minor revenue stream. That is a significant source of hard currency for a regime under sanctions, and it is being collected from the very ships that America promised to protect. Let me now show you why. This matters analytically beyond the immediate revenue story, because this is where the Professor Jiang analysis adds something that straight news reporting does not. When a state establishes a toll regime over a critical international waterway, it is not just collecting money. It is asserting sovereignty. It is demonstrating control. It is creating a precedent that can be expanded, replicated, and normalized. And it is shifting the strategic calculus from military confrontation to economic accommodation. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a shipping lane. It is a choke point. Approximately 20% of global oil supplies transit this strait. When Iran controls access to that strait, it controls a lever of global economic power. And when it monetizes that control, it transforms military leverage into economic revenue. Now I want to show you the historical pattern, because this has happened before, and the outcome was not good for the nations that waited too long to act. In 1984, during the Iran-Iraq War, Iran established a similar control regime over commercial shipping in the Persian Gulf. Ships were required to pay fees for safe passage. Insurance premiums spiked. Shipping companies rerouted vessels at great cost. The United States responded with Operation Earnest Will, reflagging Kuwaiti tankers and providing naval escorts. The operation succeeded in restoring freedom of navigation, but it took months and it cost billions. In 2019, during the tanker attacks in the Gulf of Oman, Iran demonstrated its ability to disrupt shipping without establishing a formal toll regime. The response was diplomatic pressure, sanctions, and increased naval presence. But the underlying capability remained, and the precedent was set. The pattern is clear. When a state establishes control over a critical waterway, the international community faces a choice: confront the control militarily, accommodate the control economically, or wait and hope the control collapses on its own. Each choice has costs. Each choice has consequences. Now I want to show you what Iran's toll regime actually means for global shipping, because this is the layer that no news channel is providing. The toll regime has 3 specific components, each designed for a different audience. The first component is for the shipping companies. By charging fees for safe passage, Iran is offering a choice: pay the fee and transit with reduced risk of harassment, inspection, or attack. Refuse to pay and face increased risk of detention, delay, or damage. Most shipping companies, facing insurance premiums that have increased by 300% since the conflict began, choose to pay. The fee is less than the cost of rerouting, less than the cost of delay, less than the cost of potential damage. The second component is for the insurance markets. By establishing a formal fee structure, Iran is creating a framework for risk assessment. Insurance companies can now price the risk of Hormuz transit based on whether the fee has been paid. Ships that have paid are considered lower risk. Ships that have not are considered higher risk. This creates a financial incentive for compliance that reinforces the toll regime. The third component is for the international community. By collecting fees through intermediaries and using euphemistic language, Iran is maintaining plausible deniability. The regime is not called a toll. It is called a security surcharge. The collection is not direct. It is through third parties. The revenue is not for war. It is for port services. This allows Iran to advance its strategic objectives while avoiding the diplomatic consequences of overt piracy. Each of these components is rational from Iran's perspective, but collectively they signal a strategic shift that was not present at the beginning of this conflict, and that shift has consequences for how the conflict ends. Let me now give you the 3 specific signals to watch in the next 72 hours that will tell you whether Iran's toll regime is accelerating or stabilizing. The first signal is any statement from the International Maritime Organization or the International Chamber of Shipping regarding the legality of Iran's fee collection. If these organizations issue statements condemning the practice as illegal under international maritime law, it means the international community is preparing to challenge the regime diplomatically. If they remain silent or issue only technical guidance, it means the international community is accommodating the regime economically. The second signal is any change in insurance premiums for Hormuz transit. If premiums decrease significantly, it means the market perceives the toll regime as stabilizing the security environment. If premiums increase or remain elevated, it means the market perceives the regime as increasing risk or uncertainty. The third signal is any announcement of naval deployments by the United States or allied nations in response to the toll regime. If the United States announces increased naval patrols, freedom of navigation operations, or escort missions in the Strait of Hormuz, it means the United States is preparing to challenge the regime militarily. If no such announcements occur, it means the United States is accommodating the regime economically or waiting for diplomatic solutions. Before I close, I want to come back to something that connects this analytical work to your personal life. I do this work every day because I believe people deserve analysis that goes deeper than the headline, that reads the letter inside the envelope rather than just describing the envelope itself. Doing that work at this level every day at age 63 requires a body and a mind that can sustain the pace. Advanced amino formula has been a genuine part of how I maintain that capacity. After 40, your body stops absorbing protein the way it did when you were younger. It converts much of it to sugar instead of using it to maintain and rebuild muscle. The result is the gradual energy decline and mental fog that most people over 40 accept. As normal aging, it is not normal aging. It is a nutritional gap. Specifically, the 8 essential amino acids your body needs but can no longer extract efficiently from the food and protein supplements you give it. Advanced Amino delivers all 8 in the ratio your cells can actually use with almost zero waste. That is why it hits differently from protein shakes and other supplements I tried before. The link is in the pinned comment and in the description below. They offer a full 90-day money-back guarantee if you do not feel different. In 2 weeks, return it. Zero risk. But I am telling you from my own experience at 63, covering a war at full intensity every day. When your body has what it actually needs, everything else becomes easier. Iran is charging ships money to cross the Strait of Hormuz. The strait that America cannot open has become Iran's personal toll road. It is collecting millions. The morning shows will report the fees and move on. What they will not tell you is the strategic implication. What they will not tell you is the historical precedent. What they will not tell you is what this means for global shipping and for your household budget. Now you know. Subscribe right now if this gave you the analytical depth that the news cycle is not providing. Drop a comment below with yes or no. Do you believe the United States should challenge Iran's toll regime in the Strait of Hormuz through military, diplomatic, or economic means? I read every single comment. I will see you tomorrow.